Ah, So I wanted to make a quick video, talk about the Field Racing LS swap kit for a Nissan 350Z, reasons that I went with this kit, and some of the better parts and worst parts of what I've come across so far in the install. So just looking at the Field Racing swap kit from here, really all you can make out is the twin turbo headers that I've got on it. The install overall is pretty smooth. They fit pretty well, with the exception of the passenger side header where you do have to clearance the strut tower a little bit to get that to fit. And you can sort of see how tight it is over here, right where that elbow turns down into the turbine for the passenger side turbo. You can also see that I don't have wastegates on it yet. I've been told that the wastegates are a very tight fit, especially on this side. If you move over to the driver's side, you can see that there's a little bit more clearance to get a wastegate in over here, but still pretty tight. This will have tile MVR wastegates on it, or however you say that, eventually when I pony up the money to buy them. The next thing you'll notice about the twin turbo forward and up manifolds is that they don't leave a whole lot of clearance off of the exhaust side of the turbo to fit in a downpipe. I'm still not quite sure how I'm going to squeeze it in there. I don't think I'm going to buy the Field Racing manifolds, purely because they haven't had a great reputation with me so far of getting products to me in a timely manner. One of the things I would say that the Field Racing kit does really well is moves the engine really far back and keeps it very low. This was the reason that I went with this kit overall. As you can see, there's no oil pan in front of the cross member, and anywhere near the sway bar. The oil pan is a rear sump, so it gets the engine really far back in the engine bay, which is a pretty nice feature. There's a lot of room between the crank and the front bumper, as you can sort of see. I'll switch to GoPro here in a minute just to give you guys a better angle of how much room there actually is in front of the engine here. If you look at it from the back side, you can see that I clearanced out the false firewall. The engine's pretty far back in the engine bay, and there's still a fair amount of room back there, but I've been told that with the false firewall in that it's very tight, and you do have to clearance around the valve covers. So just know going in, if you're not cutting out the false firewall, that you're going to have to do some work to clearance this because of how tight it gets. And if anybody's curious, this is a Tremec T56 Magnum. It's brand new, and I'm using a F-body type bell housing with a monster twin plate clutch. Going underneath the car, you can see the rear sump oil pan. You can see how much clearance there is there between the stock cross members and the oil pan. And you can see that the T56 Magnum fits in there pretty well compared to the Nissan CDO8 or CDO9 transmission. The Field Racing transmission mount, overall, okay quality. I wouldn't say that it's anything to write home about, but it's basically just a mild steel bar on a couple of brackets with a polyurethane bushing. The drive shaft is made by Precision Shaft Technologies. Overall, the drive shaft's a really nice piece. Unfortunately, I mentioned before that I had some customer service issues with Field. They sent me the wrong size drive shaft in the first place. They sent me a drive shaft for a 240SX. It was a little bit too long. I sent this shaft back, and it took about 3 months to actually get the correct size drive shaft, which this is the correct size. I just haven't had time to bolt it in yet. I'm still running the stock differential. It's a viscous limited slip. I don't expect it to live very long, and maybe before this build is finished, I'll have that torn back out and replaced with something better, but I'm going to live with it the way it is for right now, just to try to speed up the build process and get this hopefully running sooner than later. Inside, I'm going to talk about my biggest complaint with the Field Racing kit, which is that originally Field told me that the T56 Magnum would fit in here. It does fit, but what they won't tell you is that you're going to have to cut the transmission tunnel pretty substantially to get it in the right location. I cut it. As you can see, this is where your shifter would actually end up if you install it as is. This is a Sickie adapter, so it's an 8-inch adapter that moves the shifter back 8 inches, and 8 inches will get your shifter right about in the middle of where it should line up at. So if you want your shifter to line up in the stock location, you're going to have to get some kind of adapter to move that shifter arm back 8 inches, especially on a T56 Magnum. That's it for now. If you guys have questions about the Field Racing LS to 350Z swap kit, leave them in the comments. Thanks for watching.